Finally through with him. So sick of arguing.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Kayla Moore here once again. I am the author of Your Path to Songwriting Success, 7 Steps to Becoming a Confident Songwriter. And today I have a very special guest. She is a fellow incubated author, and she is a confidence coach and the best-selling author of 2 books. The first book is called Fearful to Fabulous: Unlock Your Power, Move On, and Thrive After Midlife Divorce. And her second book is called Too Scared to Love Again: The Divorced Woman's Guide to Sidestep the Red Flags, Delight in the Dating, and Find the Love You Deserve. Hi, Fiona. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
Kay, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to see you.
Yes. And today, so we're going to explore how women who are single or divorced can tap into songwriting as a way to get back to themselves and to manifest their desires. So this is going to be really, really interesting. So Fiona, first question. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background and why you decided to write those books?
Yeah, this is very interesting. You know, there's people who say, oh, I wanted to write a book for years. I really wasn't like that. It sort of came upon me. I grew up in England. Clearly, I've an accent. Met my ex-husband in West Africa, actually, where I was teaching, and moved to New York, and got married, had 4 kids, and thought that life that I thought I was going to have was a little bit different. But I was a suburban Connecticut housewife with these 4 children, and I was working hard and thinking I had the perfect life.
Right.
And thinking until one day, my husband walks in and announces that he's filing for divorce.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? Huh?
Just out of the blue.
Out of the blue. I had no idea. I probably should have had an idea, but I had no idea. That's the truth. So, time goes on, and it's 10 years later now. But a few years later, I went through a pretty bad time. Like, I spiraled down. I did all the things. I spent too much money. I drank too much. I partied too much. I was definitely eating too much. I mean, I went out and dated like a crazy person, right? It was, you name it, I probably did it. Right. And then it clearly wasn't working for me, because even though my friends were looking at me and saying, wow, you're amazing. How are you keeping it all together? You've got a job, you're looking after your 4 kids, you're doing all. The truth is, I wasn't keeping it all together. I might have looked good on the outside, but I was a complete mess on the inside. And that's when I managed to reach out to someone, who helped me. And I learned a lot of things and did a lot of work on myself. And I got to the point where I was like, there's no reason why, and I started working with other women. I trained to be a health coach, actually, but I switched it because my passion became working with these other women who were going through what I'd gone through. Right. And I was thinking, I saw this opportunity to write a book, and I was like, wow, I can only work with one person at a time, or a small group. Wouldn't it be great to put out there what I've done, what I've learned, fast track them so they don't have to go through what I went through.
Yes.
And what so many of the women that I speak to have gone through for years. Yeah. So that was the reason that I decided to write a book in the end, just to help others skip over the rotten part, as it were,
That's going to help a lot of women.
Yeah.
So the next question I have, so after a divorce, do you find that some women have lost themselves and put their dreams aside? And, for instance, like someone who wants to write a song.
I think that is like one of the biggest issues that we deal with, actually. Well, first of all, when you get divorced, that's a loss of identity right there, right? But when we get into it and we start discussing it, the divorce is really not always the issue. It's sort of the last final straw that pushed them over the edge,
right,
that's put them in this position, because everything that went on up to that point and during their marriage has really been them trying to be the person they thought they should be, You know, as women, and it's a bit of a generalization, but it's pretty true.
Yeah.
We tend to think that we're supposed to help everybody else,
Yep.
right? And when we don't help somebody else and we're doing stuff for ourselves, it's considered selfish, not just by you know, there's judgment, right? Judgment from everywhere. There's judgment from within, there's judgment from outside.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women put down things that they really believe is their dream in order to make this family life that they have run smoothly.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the women that I work with, and this isn't always true, obviously, of married women, because clearly you're not in this position, but a lot of the women that I work with have been married to very controlling men. So they don't like their wife to go off and do her thing.
Right.
You know, she's like I know in my marriage, I was like the rah-rah cheerleader, right? And I actually was a bit of an entrepreneur during my marriage. I had these 4 little kids. I started to make handbags. I was painting furniture. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And, you know, quite honestly, my ex-husband hated it. He didn't want me doing that stuff.
Maybe he felt threatened.
Well, I don't want to get into his issues, but it was something that he didn't like it because it was me doing it on my own. Right. It was, and you know, meanwhile, all day I'm with 4 little children. So that of course I needed my time. But yeah, he didn't like it because it was my thing and it was something that I was following. It was my passion. And you know, I'm not going to put him down, but it was difficult for him. And a lot of women that I speak to are having the same issue. So you know what? Just like me, they say, well, I better not do that because it's rocking the boat. Right. So you push down what you really want to do, and you try and fit yourself to the mold of who you think you're supposed to be.
Right.
And I think that happens. So for example, if they want to be this like amazing songwriter, I mean, I'm sure so many people are like, say to them, oh yeah, well, you know, you couldn't be a famous songwriter, or you couldn't do that, or you couldn't write a book, right? People say that to you.
They do.
And you believe it. And so you don't do it.
They do. That's so true. And I've been through a lot of what you were saying, except I'm still married.
Right.
I did happen to get into a mold of working mom and taking care of pretty much everything and pushing my dreams to the side. And so it did come to a point where I had to, you know, take the lead and follow my own desires, fill up my own cup, so that my cup runneth over so I can help everyone else. Because when you're in an unhappy place, you're pretty much no good to anybody.
Exactly. You know, that's what I was telling. If you're not looking after yourself, you're just grumpy all the time.
Exactly.
Right. So those kids that you think you're looking after, you start to resent it and you get snippy. Yeah. And the same with your husband, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure to be fair to him, I'm sure that I was behaving like that at the end there without realizing it, because I look back and I see that I did feel suppressed a little bit. So I'm sure I was, you know, not the funnest person all the time. So it happens. So that's why it's important for us to look after ourselves.
It definitely is. And I think the best gift that you can give to another person is you being happy and you being you.
Right.
I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. And the other thing to remember in that is, you know, we're fitting ourselves into these molds for these family members and these husbands. We don't have any control over their behavior.
Right.
Right. So we can't make them happy.
Right. Right.
You know, we can only make ourselves happy.
Exactly.
So exactly. So you can't try to make somebody else happy. It's not going to work.
Right.
It's a very frustrating thing.
Right. And what I've noticed too is when you make yourself happy and you become that happy person, you actually attract good things from people. You know, if you portray this happy person, they actually reflect that back to you, as opposed to you being grumpy and they reflect that grumpiness right back to you. It's kind of like a mirror.
It is. I mean, honestly, on a it's not quite as deep a level, but I tried an experiment one day when I went for a walk. And I made sure, and I smiled at every single person that I went past and said good morning. And it's like, people were like, what would she? But they all smiled back, every one of them. You know what I mean? Even though they were like, looked at me like I was a crazy person, you know? So it's true. It's like you reflect, you give out, you get back what you give out, for sure.
Definitely. And, you know, 2020 has been crazy for everyone.
A little bit.
And, you know, with the pandemic, how do you think that's affected, I guess, the mentality of single or divorced women in general?
You know, I think what it's done is it's just added another layer of stuff that you have to deal with. It's added another layer of when you get divorced, it tends to be, it happens a lot, is things happen that you don't anticipate. You
Right.
know that you're going to lose your husband. You know that you're going to have issues with your kids, maybe if you have younger kids going away to stay with him, and so they're not always around. What you don't anticipate so much is the loss of a lot of friends
Mm.
and even family members. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes family members are disapproving. I mean, definitely, you think your in-laws are real close to you. Mine were like my family for 20 years. Bye.
Wow.
Right. And even people have said to me, their churches, they've had, you know, if they're in a very strict religious type of church, they've had, or they felt uncomfortable there, so they can't go there anymore. So you've already lost all this contact,
Right.
all these people you thought were around you. And now we've got this extra layer of we're all stuck in the house and we're not supposed to go anywhere. And we can't go for a cup of coffee with our friends, or we can't have happy hour. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So, except on Zoom, which is great, but not the same thing.
Not at all.
So it's added that extra layer, and it's on top of the isolation, there's the stress. You
Mhm.
know, what if I get sick? How am I going to pay my bills? Which again is a huge one after you get divorced, whether you have money or not. The bill thing is a big deal. It's just added, it's like piling on, you know. Um, and then if you do want to date, well, how's that going to work these days?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. So
online is the way, but then you've got to meet people. So
yeah, you
yeah.
mentioned in one of your posts on Instagram that there's like an era of desperation that people are feeling, and some of them are just immersing themselves in things like Netflix or something meaningless, or they just don't even know what to do with their time, and they're not
Right.
taking.
Well, you know, I mean, what happens is when you have so many things on your mind, and it's so difficult to like, gosh, what should I do now?
Mhm.
It's easy. There's escapism, right? And if you can't leave to go to exercise, or you're not meeting one of your friends, you get stuck in this position. And the more you do something like sit on the couch and watch Netflix, the harder it is to get up and do something else.
Or drink.
Yeah,
I
drink. Yeah,
remember when the
drinking is a
pandemic just
drinking
hit,
was big. Yeah.
I was taking shots every night.
I know. I put on a little bit of weight during
Yeah, I think all of us gained like 20 pounds and became alcoholics.
yeah, I put on weight, but I didn't become an alcoholic. That's good, at least. Because I already went through that issue. Well, I wasn't an alcoholic, but I was on the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so they're sitting there, and they you know, it lowers your energy, it lowers your self-esteem, it makes you feel worse about yourself.
Mhm.
So what do? Yes, you need to have an outlet, right?
Yes.
And you know, one of the things I advise people to do is, if you can, all those thoughts that are swirling around in your head,
Mhm.
getting them out on a piece of paper,
Yes.
just to like brain dump, or just to, what am I really feeling? What's going on in my life. And that's exactly, it's so funny because when we were talking, that's exactly what songwriting seems to be to me, as
It
not a
can be.
professional songwriter,
It can
right?
definitely be a way of just expressing your emotions, getting everything out that can be healing for you, actually.
Yeah.
And it's also a way of exploring your feelings. It can be a way to escape. You can write a song about anything. You can escape to somewhere. You can be a different person. You know, there's so many different reasons and ways to write a song. And
The other thing I wanted to say about the song issue
Mhm.
is, like my book, it's the same idea, because how many of us have listened, have a song that we say, I love this song because it makes me feel this. I love this song because I've been through that and it makes me feel better about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you have some experience and
Mhm.
some strong, powerful emotions that you want to share with other people,
Yes.
that's an excellent way to
Yeah.
get it out into the
A
world.
lot of songs for me, and I think a lot of people also, are like the soundtrack of life in general. Like
Right.
everything that I've been through in life, I'm sure I can tie to a song that I've heard or that I've written. So it's definitely a great tool to get into a better feeling place and raise your vibration. And I also wanted to talk about a way that you can use songwriting and tie that into law of attraction, which is one of my favorite topics, as everyone should know by now. So if you tie in law of attraction and songwriting with finding a relationship or even self-love, that can be a powerful, powerful tool for manifestation. For example, you can write a song about the future significant other that you will have. Or you can write a song about the feelings you have for that person in the future, because you want it and it's already done. It's there. All you have to do now is line up emotionally and feel it and trust that God is going to bring it to you, the universe, however you want to call it, it's going to come to you. You have to definitely trust that. And that's a huge tool. As long as you put in the emotion, the intention, that's power. And through song, oh my goodness, songs are just so powerful and moving.
Yeah,
and
very. Yeah.
A great tool for manifesting as
I
well.
think in fact, I might even start using this in my courses now.
Yeah, why not?
Now that we've had this chat.
Why not? It's definitely a great tool. So thank you so much, Fiona, for joining me.
Welcome.
Do you have any last tips for single or divorced women out there?
Well, first of all, it seems like it's endless and it's not maybe going to get better, but it will. The most important thing when we talk about the air of desperation before, if you feel like you want to go into another relationship, because not everybody does, people are not ready for it.
Right.
The biggest advice I give is and it sounds hokey and very coachy, right? But first of all, you got to have that relationship with yourself.
Right.
Because if you're giving out this vibe of, I don't really like myself, it's amazing how you somehow attract these people, these men who are attracted to that type of woman. And it's like this imperfect jigsaw that fits together.
Law of attraction.
Yeah, it fits together. And so really, honestly, the biggest thing you can do for yourself is to really just take the time, write your songs, write your diary, and decide who it is you want to be going forward, because you don't have to be the same person. That's the best thing about getting divorced. It's like COVID and a divorce, and you got them in the same year. It's like a full screeching halt, and you get to take a breath and decide who you want to be now.
You decide.
And my other point speaking of music, that I tell people to do, because I do it and I don't care that I look crazy, not that anybody ever sees me, is I dance around the kitchen to music. It just raises you up. It just makes you feel better. Just anytime you're in the kitchen doing something and the radio's on, just dance around. Who cares? Nobody can see you.
Yeah, if only I had music right now to play for you, we could have a little dance party right now. Maybe next time. But also, if you all are interested in writing your own song, definitely reach out to me. You can email me at kaylamour04@gmail.com. That's KAYLAMOUR04@gmail.com. And we can definitely talk about how I can possibly help you in that way. And Fiona, can you go ahead and tell everyone how they can reach you as well?
Yeah, if you want to email me, it's Fiona@FindFabulousWithFiona. So Fiona@FindFabulousWithFiona. I'm not going to spell all that out, it's too long. But I also offer a 45-minute call. If somebody if they feel like they're going through something right now, they want to see what their biggest challenges are, where they'd rather be, and how to what's blocking that happening. They can give me a call, and that's to get onto my schedule. It's callfabfiona .as.me. So that's CALFABFIONA.AS.me.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Fiona, thank you.
Bye. Hope to see you when I'm allowed to come into New York. I want to see you.
Definitely. We have to link up.
All right.
Yeah.
That I don't want to fuss and fight.